Hello and welcome to the comic. What's the name of this podcast? The Comic Conspiracy, not Comics Conspiracy. That's the name of the store. Welcome to the Comic Conspiracy podcast, episode 235 for the week of November 10th. How the fuck is it already November 2015? My name. It's November, right? Yes.
Yeah, we just passed November, or the 5th of November. So
okay.
We're good.
I know where we are, I know what we are, and I know when it is, so we are good. November 10th, 2015. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who is here with me this week?
Brock Seger.
Toby.
Say your name in a louder.
Toby!
There you go. Now you can go back to finish eating.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Just finish eating, Toby, then you'll be back. Hey, Charlie's not here. His car broke down. He had some car issues, so... hopefully Charlie will be back next week. Bryce, I think, is off this week, but he should be back next week. So we will have hopefully a small cast today, but hopefully a nice episode. We got all sorts of stuff to talk about. Let's start with our continuing coverage of Marvel's all new, all different Marvel relaunch for 2015. There's all sorts of comics that have come out the last 2 weeks. We're going to talk about a few of them. We're going to talk about all of them very briefly, starting with a couple from now 2 weeks ago that we needed to catch up on. Brock.
Yep.
Angela, Queen of Hell #1. Do we need to say anything more than this? Marjorie Bennett and Kim. What's
the next book on the list?
Kim Jacinto. I got 4 pages, and how many pages in did you get?
What? I saw the cover of the book and was like, pass.
Yeah. Sorry, Angela. Your previous series was shit. I read a few pages and went, no interest. Creative team does not interest me in any way, shape, or form. Sorry. Unfortunately, that's also the same with Howling Commandos of S.H.I.E.L.D. #1, which I was, somewhat interested in the creative team. Frank Barbary, I like. Brent Schoonover, sorry. His art's all right. This is taking all the monster characters, including not Werewolf by Night. What tells his face? Tells the stupid guy's name.
Werewolf by Night.
No, it's not Werewolf by Night, is it?
Yeah.
Isn't it? No, isn't it the other guy? Isn't it the Moon Knight? What the hell's the guy's name? Oh my god, I'm totally drawing a blank. Bryce is screaming at me.
Well, there's Man Thing. There's that Golem looking creature.
Yeah. Well, there's Man Thing. There's Hit Monkey. There's all those guys. God, what is that stupid Spider-Man wolf guy? Anyway, whatever. It's Wolfman. Yeah, all the monster guys. Again, it's just concept does nothing for me.
Well, DC has what? Frankenstein and the Creature Commandos?
Yeah, Creature Commandos,
and those really work.
I like the Creature Commandos. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's the same concept.
But this felt really kind of let's Suicide Squad a team like that. Like it was, to me, it felt very forced. It was like trying to combine two different things. And I'm like, they're monsters. Just treat them as monsters. Like when I was reading... Frankenstein Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it was cool because that was kind of the newer Creature Commandos.
Yeah, there were elements. I liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. more than... that's what this is. It's going for the same feel, but I liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. better. Yeah, Dum Dum Duggan leads a team of monsters.
No, the LMD Dum Dum Duggan, because it's just a cycle.
Yeah. Dum Dum Duggan had been killed. Oh, he was really dead. Oh, now he's an LMD. Oh, and I'm sure they'll just bring him back alive. Whatever. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Hey, here's a great list of all the characters. The zombie version of Jasper Sitwell, who you may remember from, that's the guy from, that dies in Winter Soldier. Sitwell? Is he the one that he was in S.H.I.E.L.D. and dies in Winter Soldier?
The guy with the glasses.
Amphibian, Vampire by Night, Orgo, he's the big golem guy, Teen Abomination, that classic, Hit Monkey, Man Thing, and then... Yeah, I don't know. Werewolf by Night's not in here. Yeah, it's not Werewolf by Night. I can't remember the guy's name, but we didn't know what friggin' is. It's
I told you.
Yeah. No, it's Vampire by Night. I think she turns into a wolf. Well, fuck cares. Book will be canceled by issue 6 anyway. Now, Brock, I know you're not a fan of the amazing, uncanny,
the buck-toothed wonder of the Marvel universe,
excellent, unbeatable Squirrel Girl by Ryan North and Erica Henderson, sorry. This is, again...
She's just shut off the podcast. She's like, I don't want to listen to you anymore.
Well, this is, again, like most of the Marvel number ones, just absolute direct continuation from where the previous series left off. Like nothing happened. It doesn't acknowledge Secret Wars in any way, shape, or form.
So is it really all new, all different?
No, it's exactly the same as before, which is awesome because Squirrel Girl is like one of the best books Marvel publishes right now. It is such a funny book, and this.
Well, Squirrel Girl falls into that kind of Deadpool vein where if you're into it, you're really going to enjoy it. If you're not, you're not.
Sure, I won't disagree with that. I mean, I think it's super quirky. I think it's a really funny book. There's a robot that's just a
Doesn't
robot.
it have like the best panel in comics ever?
Well, there's a robot with brains and an eyeball, and they're trying to go around, and they think it's evil, and they're trying to get it enrolled in college, and it's really funny. But it does have a fantastic panel where previously Squirrel Girl was a mutant, and now in this new version,
all new, all different,
they discovered that she actually isn't a mutant. Her mother has a line here that says, "Now remember, Doreen is medically and legally distinct from being a mutant, and I can never take this back." That is she's quoting the doctor that said that she is not a mutant. So if they want to put Squirrel Girl in the Jessica Jones, Luke Cage universe as their nanny, as she is in the new Avengers comic book, she's the babysitter for Luke Cage.
Maybe she can actually have a date with a speedball.
She could. Well, she's dating.
I mean, she likes balls, nuts, stuff like that.
Yeah,
so. I don't know if her and the cat would get along.
Eat nuts, kick butts. That's her. I mean, she is kind of hanging out with Chipmunk Hunk.
Ooh,
and
Chipmunk Hunk.
And,
that's a classic.
And Coy Boy.
Oh, Jesus
so
Christ.
I don't know if Speedball is going to show up in this comic or not. But
well, maybe she would date Penance. She wants the bad boy.
We can only hope. Squirrel Girl. I highly dead serious. I really think it's a funny book. If you like very quirky titles, if you like things like Adventure Time, these people worked on Adventure Time, the comic.
Yeah.
You're gonna like this book. It's a very quirky, very funny book.
Yeah, I skipped it because I knew it wasn't for me.
Yeah, that's fine. I have now read 7 Deadpool number ones. That is all. This past week, Deadpool by Jerry Dugan and Mike Hawthorne. Again, just kind of continuing Deadpool before.
It's not all new, all different Deadpool.
Well, he's got the Deadpool core now. There's all these Deadpools running around.
They had the Deadpool core before.
Yeah, but they're like they're like a big part of the book. The recent continuity of Deadpool post Secret Wars is that
he's not a mutant.
Well, he basically has franchised out his name and brand, and now
we got that out of Uncanny Avengers,
right? So he runs the Avengers now. He is now the money because Iron Man's not a part of the Avengers anymore.
Because Deadpool's the only Marvel book that can actually sell 7 copies or 7 different titles.
Yeah. So if you like Deadpool,
it falls under the Squirrel Girl thing. If you like Deadpool, you like that weird, funny fourth wall breaking guy. Yeah, this is for you. I mean, I'm excited for the movie, but as a whole, I've never been a big Deadpool fan. I like him as a secondary character. Like I loved him in
Uncanny X-Force.
Yeah, I loved him when Cable was time hopping around, and he's still around in like the future, and he's just kind of he's just crazy, just batshit crazy, going, okay, yeah, let's go up against Strife and all this stuff. Like,
yeah, as
a secondary character, he's amazing in other books.
Yeah,
but as the main one, ugh.
No, and I
like if they did the Deadpool comic more like a dark Punisher, like more funny Punisher,
they have.
I think I would be a little more into it. Like the movie, the trailer for the movie really kind of made me want to like.
There was a Deadpool Punisher in the Garth Ennis arc of the Punisher stuff, and I thought that was funny.
Yeah,
it worked, right? I'll wait till the 8th Deadpool number 1 to read another issue of Deadpool. So much like Nova number 1 by Sean Ryan and Corey Smith. I mean,
it's not all new and it's not all different.
It's the same story as before. The dad's back because we've had Kid Nova running around for a while now. He's brought his dad back. I thought this was even worse than the first number 1. Yep. This book did. I mean, I'm not coming in with these books with any sort of prejudge. I want them all to be great. I was like, well, it's a Deadpool book. I'll read it. I hope it's good. It's just more of the same shit. And unfortunately, I find Nova falls into that category.
Yeah, I read Nova #1 and the whole relationship with the dad being back and all this stuff. I was like, I don't. It doesn't feel to me like Nova. It feels to me like some kid got.
Well, he's not even Nova at all in the book. Like one scene.
Yeah, and it
doesn't. Well, if you don't know the story, if you don't know the characters, a lot of these #1s don't bring you in at all.
Exactly. And this is a horrible one because it's like, oh, my dad's back. Well, what the fuck happened before?
Yeah, there's no explanation of anything for what was going on before. There's very little any sort of character development in this to tell you, oh, here's his backstory.
And then the end, the last page, you're like, okay, why? Like, I read the last panel going, well, that's a twist, but I don't care.
Yeah, well, and I think you see a lot of these books, again, they're trying to lead into the issue #2. And yeah, those last page twists have been mediocre at best.
Yeah.
It seems like his dad is not actually his dad, or is not who he seems to be. So
he's a scroll.
Oh, all right,
something.
Sure. I mean, I have no connection to this character because I didn't read the other 40 issues of the series.
If it was Nova #1 with Rich Rider back, I'd be like, oh yeah, let's do this.
Oh, and that's a character that I have some preconceived or some acknowledged history with.
That's a good Nova, and it's a.
I mean, they could. There's no reason this book can't be decent. I am bored with a character sitting in like middle school talking about his dad problems. I don't give a fuck about that. Why isn't he punching Terax in the face?
Yeah, this should be
kind of like Drax #1 by CM Punk, Cullen Bunn, and Scott Hepburn. Did you read Drax? You're reading Drax.
I read about 4 or 5 pages of it, and I can sum up the whole fucking thing
it's Drax.
In one panel.
It's a Drax comic.
I can sum up the whole...
It's a movie Drax comic. I mean, I don't know what you expect.
This is the thing, is I can sum it up in one panel, or 2. He's sitting there fuming because nobody wants him to go with... Because everyone's breaking up. The Guardians are breaking up after doing something to go do their own stuff. Nobody wants Drax to go with him. So he steams for 2 seconds in one panel, and the next panel he goes, oh, I guess I'll go kill Thanos.
Yep, and so...
Like, and then I flipped through the rest of it going, I don't even need to read the dialogue.
Well, you're maybe not wrong, but what I think is funny about this book is, like all the Guardians solo books that have come out, none of them I thought have been bad. They've all varied in quality. Like, I actually thought Star-Lord was really good.
No, I like Star-Lord.
This is... Rock Raccoon started okay, but the back half I didn't care for very much. Groot, I read the first couple. Hard. It's not Groot. Again, it's the characters around him.
I think the issue with giving us these individual books for these characters is they tie in too much with what's going on with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, the first time I really got into Drax was Drax's miniseries from Annihilation.
Yeah.
And I thought that was amazing because Drax they established Drax. They gave you kind of a history of him a little bit, and he molded into the character he is today.
Yeah.
Like with Rocket and Groot, the group books, it's like, oh, let's go have a bizarro, funny adventure and be this kind of slapsticky book.
But they don't really...
But there's nothing really substantial.
The context is that you've seen the movie, and that's what I think the Drax #1 comic, it's like, you have no idea who Drax is when you read this comic.
Yeah.
If you've seen the movie, I mean, I guess that's all you have to go off of.
But that doesn't, I mean, it doesn't entice me at all to keep reading it.
Right. I mean,
if it was like they're retelling Drax's origin story of how his family died and like all of that stuff and kind of making, like giving us a quest and seeing like if they gave it the Arrow treatment, where we see a story that's going on in the present that's just him, he's like on the hunt for Thanos or something, but we see these flashbacks.
What's weird about the Drax comic is you had the original Drax who was not dumb, but he was like the original Drax, like way like pre
the purple cape wearing one.
Yeah, pre the 08 Guardians or any of that stuff. When he had the original Drax, I felt like he was a Hulk-like character.
Yeah,
kind of.
He was a space Hulk. Limited
intelligence, fought a lot. And then when you get to 2008 and the Guardians, or it was like 2007 when the Drax series came out, I think it was, they reinvented this character and he became very different. The movie kind of split the difference, I feel. This feels like 90s Drax with the 2008 body, the movie motivation, and it's like it's a very different take on the character. It's not a very consistent take.
The movie,
but that said, I actually thought it was an okay comic, and if for nothing else, the last page, I'm a huge fan of Tarax, the villain. So he's in the very last page, former Herald of Galactus. I'm very curious what we're gonna see with Drax when he comes back. So.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think that this version, the movie version, did a good job blending both.
Yeah.
This does not do a good job blending both, and I think it's really going to be relying on what's going on. Like, Tarax comes into it. Yeah, Tarax is a cool character.
Yeah.
So, yes, that's going to entice people, but the main character in the book's not that enticing.
Well, no, he's very one-note in this, which he hasn't been in recent years. So it's annoying to see them revert to a very one-note character.
Because Abbott and Lanning changed it to that every time he died when he came, because he comes back.
Right.
When he comes back, he's smarter and stronger. So he keeps building and building and building, and that's the thing is he has to die enough times to get to the level to kill Thanos.
Okay.
Right. In this, in the movie, they dumbed him down a little bit.
Yeah.
They dumbed him down, but in dumbing him down, they didn't make it he was stupid.
Right.
They said, "Oh, his people are literal."
Yeah, but
right, like it was, and that's the thing. It's okay.
Funny for the movie.
I can get that, right? Like that's something I can get behind. Right? He's from a race of people that are very literal.
Yeah.
But in the new Guardians books and stuff like that, it's like they're like I don't know if it's the creators are having a difficult time pinning down which one to go with, or editors are saying no, you have to stick with the movie Guardians version of him versus going back to the Annihilation. And to me, that's kind of sad because it doesn't really matter.
Right.
So, all right, next one.
All right, we got a couple more here. Hercules #1 by Dan Abnett.
Hold on, I gotta say it. Hercules.
And Luke Ross. There's going to be a lot of books that will be canceled by issue 6 or 8. I don't necessarily want Hercules to be one of those books, but Hercules is going to be one of these books. There is just not enough interest in the start of the story here. There's just nothing going on. I don't care. We're not given a ton of backstory on what his current situation is, why anything's happening. A lot of these books feel like really terrible #1 issues, and I don't know how you. Maybe it's just because they relaunch all the time. There's no need to be introductory in a #1. And to affect the fact that there's a Hercules book where I'm like, okay, I mean, I know who Hercules is as a reader of Marvel, but this isn't. I mean, I guess it's Hercules, but
the art isn't bad.
Art's fine. Yeah,
the problem I had with the book is that Hercules is trying to blend himself in with the current culture, the current society. Like, where does he fit in the current society?
Yeah.
But then halfway through the book, when he's battling this old entity, he goes into an old speak. Like, it's like.
Well, they're always gonna
like Thor has the way Thor speaks, right? Like we know that's how Thor speaks. Hercules, it's like he has that, but they took it away, but then they gave it back, and he has a freeloading buddy who nobody believes in anymore, who's a demigod, and it's kind of just like
again. I feel like we're picking up from things that I should know about, but there's not a real good introduction of a lot of these characters. A Hercules book is a tough sell. Mm-hmm. I did #1, did nothing for me. I'll give it maybe an issue or two more, but
it's not worth it.
I'm having a hard time trying to figure out what I'm getting here.
I don't know. I'll say something at the end. We're almost done.
Let's move over to Howard the Duck #1 or Howard the Duck #6. Or I mean, again, it's just. It continues. Yeah. I mean, it does jump forward a little bit, but then it kind of flashes back a little bit. So it's like it's just another issue of Howard the Duck. Chip Zdarsky and Joe Quinones, same creative team as before. I love the original stuff. I like this. It's a really funny book, real quirky. Again, same deal. If you like Squirrel Girl, I guess maybe if you like Deadpool, you may like this. I love Chip Zdarsky. He's absolutely hilarious. I really like the original series. Very funny, very quirky. I never cared for the old Howard the Duck stuff. I've read bits and pieces of it, but it never did anything for me. I know there are huge fans of the original material from the 70s, but again, I was never a fan of it. I just, Not something I read when it was coming out, obviously. So my connection to the character is pretty minimal, but I think it's a very funny book. So I did enjoy this. However, the Gwenpool backup was absolutely fucking terrible. Gwenpool is another one of these bad Deadpool ripoff characters. Just because it's Deadpool ripoff character, I went in and had very little interest in it, but I said, well, I'll read it. I'll give it a shot. Maybe it'll be funny. Nope. It was fucking awful. Chris Hastings is the writer. Dropping the book here. Danilo Benruth is the artist. This is Gwen Stacy as Deadpool. This is another one of these weird alternate reality things that they tried. Spider-Gwen. That's how she started. Gwenpool. It's another one of these things that kind of caught on with some weird fan internet Tumblr community, and they made a book out of it.
Somebody saw Spider-Gwen and was like, "Oh, let me do some fan fiction about Spider-Gwen being
and it's
Deadpool."
it's fucking trash. There's going to be a one shot, but this character is DOA.
Yep.
Extraordinary X-Men, I should say, by Jeff Lemire and Humberto Ramos. I actually need to read this book again because I also felt like I got nothing out of this book. And I was actually excited for this one. I was really excited for this one. And I'm going to reread it because I feel like maybe I missed something. Professor X is alive.
No, he's not.
Well,
it was a figment.
It's a fake out. Right, but you think Professor X is alive.
Well, and Storm in it quotes twice or something what Cyclops did. I'm like, what the fuck did Cyclops do?
I'm assuming it's kill Professor X.
Who knows? Did he kill Professor X? Did he have something to do with Secret Wars? Did he have some? Did he send a dick pic to somebody?
And this also seems to have no connection to the Uncanny Avengers stuff, where Rogue was saying that this is super. I mean, they talk about the Terrigen Mists in here.
Yeah, they talk about the Terrigen Mists and the fact that Beast is looking for a cure, but they're trying to go to X-Haven or something.
There's no more mutants will be born, right? That
we've all been sterilized, which technically I read something about sterilization in... that was a Captain America relaunch before the last one.
Yeah. So, we're now going to have... there will be no new X-Men. Well... If you believe that, I got a couple of bridges to sell you. So this is it. There will never be any more X-Men again until there are. But then at the very end, we get Old Man Logan coming over.
Well, it's the thing is it's kind of no offense to Jeff Lemire, but it was a cop out how that happened. Gene's there's somebody here that shouldn't be, and I'm like, oh, and then it's like, hey, let's dump Wolverine there, and then the Sentinel is apologizing to him.
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, last up.
Every now and again, when something like this happens, when there's a big event relaunch, The Diamond in the Rough comes out. Sorry, I watched Aladdin recently. Every now and again...
I just watched Aladdin recently, too.
Every now and again, something amazing happens. I think we had one or two of those in the New 52. I think we had a couple of those with the DC Now. And we had a couple surprises with the early issues of the All New, All Different Marvel, and there were some books that I thought were much stronger than I anticipated. Some were good. Then we have Vision #1 by Tom King and Gabriel Hernandez Walta. By far the best Marvel comic that has come out this year. Maybe the last couple years.
I'll let you finish first.
Did you not like this?
Nope.
Really?
Yep.
This was incredible. This may be my favorite. Okay. This is easily my favorite Marvel comic.
Now,
one issue in.
Now, for me, the thing is script-wise, it was written very well. Like the narration, the dialogue, it's all written very well. The problem I had with this book is, one, I have no context as to where the fuck this comes from out of Secret Wars. Hold on. Hold on. It takes into account a prior things that have happened in the history of Vision as a character. Mm-hmm. There's also the issue of part of it felt again, like the Drax and all that stuff, the Guardian stuff. Part of it felt very movie inspired and yet not movie inspired. Mm-hmm. So for me, I think that the problem I had with it was that you didn't get a good it's not a good number one as in, it's a good number one in the fact that it establishes something. It's not necessarily a good number one because of the back history that's kind of needed for the book with some of the things that have come out. Like, was it the Grim Reaper is in it? Nobody's going to know who the fuck that character is when they pick up this book and read through it.
Okay.
Now, to me, I liked aspects of it, but again, it didn't hit me as a great title. I'll read issue 2. Mm-hmm. Maybe issue 2 will iron out some of the issues that I have with it, but for me, it just, again, it was one of those things there. It's well written. It's got some great concepts in it, but as a number one, it didn't grab me enough, and it had too much. Like it's in that weird middle, right, where we have the all new difference that are actually all new and all different, but then we have the all same and just renumbered. Right. It's kind of like in the middle where I feel like it's part of the all new, all different, but it kind of has some baggage from the same stuff, but I don't know what that baggage is. Well,
and I tremendously disagree with you is because I feel like this is exactly what all different Marvel titles should have been.
And maybe that's part of why I didn't like it, is because I've been back and forth between it being the same and it being different. Yeah, this is the book that kind of I don't know where it falls.
Right. So there is some acknowledgement of events from the past. Clearly, the Grim Reaper being involved in it. That's
the Wonder Man.
Yeah, I mean, so it does expect you to know a little bit about the history of the Vision. That the Vision is based on the brain patterns and memories of Wonder Man, and Grim Reaper is Wonder Man's
brother.
I mean, is he like stepbrother, brother, half brother? I can't remember if he's.
I mean, he says
it's his brother. It's his brother. It's his brother. Regardless of what the exact lineage is, it's his brother. So, real quick, the plot of this, and this is again why I like this, is because Vision has a family of robots, a robot wife and 2 robot kids.
They're synthetics.
Yeah, okay, this is bizarre. When did this happen? So, unlike Hercules, where I was like, well, it's just there, and nothing interesting. This is like, okay, this is a really big change. This is interesting. What is the story behind this? Well, we'll find out more as we go on. And then you're given this crazy.
I mean, their mailbox is cool.
Yeah, the little floating mailbox. You start to see like, oh, they live like this perfect, synthetic life. Yeah, that works. But they're robots, and they kind of start fighting. Like, why are they going against their programming? Like, and you kind of see the distrust from the neighbors, and then you kind of see everything sort of fall apart right before they're basically all fucking killed at the very end of the first issue. It's like, what the hell's going on? Like, I don't know. This is one of the best Marvel comics I've read in years. I love it. I totally love this. And Tom King, again, he's done some great stuff for DC. I was hoping that would translate over to his Marvel work, but this is. I fucking love this issue. I mean,
don't get me wrong. It's written really well. Like, this is a Marvel book that's in a long time that I've read. Well, and
they potentially killed Grim Reaper in this too, which is a little nuts.
Yeah. But it's very well written. And like the thing with the water vase and stuff like that, like, why would, the question is, why would somebody make a vase that kills flowers? Right. Right. There's a lot of great stuff. Like, there's a lot of.
Yeah, his family is very new. I mean, Vision has been around for a long time. The family is trying to figure out how does life work.
Well, and that's the thing is they're going against their programming, and it's kind of like what is that community of robot wives? There's like the Stepford Wives or something.
Okay, yeah, right? Yeah. Sorry, I was like robot. I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's one of those things where, again, I think for me, it was so in the middle that it was hard for me to go either way with it. Like it was like again, well written Marvel comic that I've in a long time. But for me, I think the hardest part is I almost wish it was a little bit like it was an oversized first issue.
Well, it's the mystery, right? It ends on a giant cliffhanger, and a good cliffhanger.
Yeah,
they fucking kill the Grim Reaper, and the family's like, "What do we do now?"
Yeah.
And the wife and the two kids are like,
"Don't tell your father."
What do we do now? And it's like, that was holy shit. That was really good. Like, yeah, I want to hear from other people who've read this. I'll love to hear Bryce, Toby. If you get a chance to read Vision, I want to get your takeaway on this, because this is, to me,
What happened to Scarlet and Vision being together? Long live West Coast Avengers.
Yeah, I mean Well, she was gone for years. Scarlet Witch was dead for gone.
He moved on.
Years and years.
He made himself a weird science woman.
She's the Marvel's Jean Grey.
Now,
the other Marvel's Jean Grey.
Yeah. Now, Vision was in like Young Avengers, and he popped up on and off.
Oh, is it the Young Vision? This is not the old Vision.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. So I have no idea what the context for Vision in the last couple of years has been, because I did not stick with any of those books. He popped up.
Wasn't he in the Uncanny Avengers?
He popped up once or twice, and I was just like, I give no fucks for anything that he's in. I like the Vision.
I'll be honest, the family freaks me out a little bit, but that's supposed to.
It's right. It is. No, and his neighbors are do we bring them cookies?
Well,
and
I mean, the kids are like.
The scenes with the kids were great.
Well, I like the stuff was like when the one girl's asking him like, "Are you normal?"
Yeah.
And he doubts himself and asks his sister.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Well, it's like the reverse of the Incredible Kids, right? It's like they're older now, right?
Right.
It's like they're showing off, they're doing these things, and the parents are all, don't excel, just fit in,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
They're
yeah.
like I want to read issue 2.
Okay, good.
But it hasn't hooked me. This issue didn't blow me away like you, because I think for me, I don't know what side of the fence I need to be on with this title, whether it's an all new, all different, or if it's some different, new, some same.
But that's what it should be, right? It should be all new and all different.
Yeah.
This is all new and all different, So, all right. We will be back next week, every other week or so, with some of the new Marvel #1s. Didn't expect us to go quite so long, but that's
I
okay.
actually read 2 issues while you guys were on.
So you'll be prepared for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or for
Yeah,
next
you can be
week.
prepared for next week.
I actually have a few things to say about this new Wolverine.
Oh, we'll deal with that next week.
Yeah.
Can't jump ahead here. Well, we do have our favorite new game. Our favorite new game that is...
But Toby, I'm sorry. I hate having this game when there's just you on.
I just turned off the mic and go for it.
No, Toby, jump on. We have our new favorite game, and that is we have our top comics for October 2015. This is U.S. sales, physical copies through Diamond Comics. Not the greatest barometer.
This one's going to be a little trickier.
But the only measurement we have, Toby, you could get October. Books are shipped in October. You could throw out a couple books. Marvel relaunched every comic starting in October. You could probably name some of them.
Okay, so are there at least 2 DC titles on that list?
There are no DC titles in the top 10.
Holy shit.
There are no Image titles in the top 10. There is no anything titles in the top 10 except for Marvel.
Okay, so...
there is only 2 DC titles in the top 20.
Jesus.
There are no Image comics in the top 20. There is no anything else in the top 20 except Marvel.
So let's go. Amazing Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man number 2 spot at an estimated 245,000 copies sold.
Toby, your favorite book. Your favorite book.
Turn your mic on.
I don't have a favorite book.
It's right behind you. Your favorite book from the all new, all different Marvel by Bendis. He's in a golden red suit. He's invincible.
They made a couple movies about him.
Iron Man?
Mm-hmm.
Invincible Iron Man number 1 is the number 1 spot at 279,000 copies sold.
Okay. Next would be Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange is number 5. Doctor Strange number 1 at 145,000 copies sold.
Did we get a Secret Wars issue that month?
Did get Secret Wars number 6 at the number 4 spot for 192,000 copies.
All right, so I need number 3.
Number 3.
I'm guessing we're going to look at Uncanny Avengers.
Not
for 3.
Not in the top 10.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Guardians.
Guardians of the Galaxy number 9. The number 1 issue of Guardians of the Galaxy at 118,000. Well, you actually guessed Amazing Spider-Man. Number 2 is also in the top 10 at 111,000 because number 2 came out the same month. So,
okay. Does Invincible Iron Man fall into that category too?
It should, but I don't see it here. No, it's barely in the top 30.
Okay.
And look for that number to keep dropping.
So what numbers? So what do we get to?
We got 1, we got 2. Number 3.
Wait, okay, so the only other things it could be is New Avengers, Astonishing Ant-Man,
Nope.
Captain America.
No.
Silk.
No.
Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen, number 3 at 197,000 copies. Look for that number to drop dramatically.
Vader and Star Wars.
So we got 1, 2, we got Invincible Iron Man, Amazing Spider-Man, blah, 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 blah. Number 6, Star Wars. It's issue number 10, 134,000 copies. Number 7, Chewbacca, number 1 at 122,000 copies. And number 8, Star Wars Shattered Empire, number 2 at 119,000 copies. That is your top 10. Invincible Iron Man, Amazing Spider-Man.
Wait, Darth Vader didn't even make the list this month?
Number 15 and 16.
Wow.
Yeah. So you have Invincible Iron Man number 1 at 279,000 copies, Amazing Spider-Man number 1 at 245,000 copies, Spider-Gwen number 1 at 197,000, Secret Wars number 6 at 192,000, Doctor Strange number 1 at 145,000, Star Wars number 10 at 134,000, Chewbacca number 1 at 122,000, Star Wars Shattered Empire number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy
Shattered
number
Empire's
1,
been really good.
and then Amazing Spider-Man number 2 rounds out your top 10. Batman and Justice League, the only 2 books to break the top 20 for DC. Marvel has 18 of the top 20 spots. They have Paper Girls number 1 is the 23rd book. All right, New Avengers.
That's the first.
That's the first image. Yeah, Back to the Future number 1 is 27th spot at 67,000.
That's the highest at IW, or is that IDW?
IDW, yeah.
That's the first time they've been that high, right?
They've had books high, but not like a kind of a more traditional book like that. So, big. Not this was any question, but no doubt about it. Amazing sales for Marvel. Comichron.com always does a great write-up on this. This is the first time since 2007 that Marvel had. It's the first time since 2007 that there's been this many books have sold 100,000 copies or more. 14 titles over 100,000 copies.
Yeah, but the number 2s are just going to tank.
This is also the first time, I believe, that Marvel has had this many books in the top 20. I think this is the first time in current recorded charts that Marvel has had the entire top 10 to themselves. Absolutely no doubt about it. Amazing sales for Marvel. Now, here's where the real talk starts.
Yep.
Do not fool yourself. These are inflated dramatically because of exceeded special discounts, variant covers. Invincible Iron Man number 1 had 14 variant covers, I believe.
Well, how many variant covers were available through Marvel in the month of October?
Was October the month that had like 270,
yep.
Like 200 and something variant covers through Marvel alone? So you can understand why, if they broke it down per variant cover, these numbers would look very different, right? Now the question comes, are these sustainable? When DC did the New 52, the number 1s launched very, very high with very minimal variant covers. Some of them had 1, a lot of them had none, right?
Yeah.
It took 6 months for a lot of those books to really drop off. It took a good year or 2 before they were down to basically where they were before. Now the question is, can Marvel keep this going? Now I can only tell you my store and the stores that I talk to on a regular basis. Most stores said that the variant covers sold very well. The regular covers sold fine. Again, it's a trend here, and a trend that with other stores I talk to on a regular basis, that the customers that buy variant covers are not traditional customers. A lot of variant covers are bought by people who only buy variant covers. Some people double up. Some people quadruple up. Some people, they read every single variant cover they buy. I'm not trying to say it's a good or bad thing, but a lot of people buy Scotty Young covers and Scotty Young covers alone. A lot of people search out those J. Scott Campbell 1 in 50 covers, and that moves a lot of extra titles, right? So This is also sold to comic stores. I ordered to have a bunch of number ones on the shelf for a while. They will trickle out and sell maybe eventually.
Yep.
But when I look at my numbers for number 2s, 3s, 4s, those numbers are back to exactly what they were before All New, All Different, before Secret Wars, or in some cases lower, in some cases much lower.
Yep.
Uncanny Avengers being a perfect example of, and New Avengers as well, of books that I dropped well below what I was selling prior because the new creative teams are not very strong. The interest is very minimal on these. So I will be very, very curious to see what these books are doing in 2, 3, 4 months. The hip-hop covers sold a shitload. The Scotty Young cover sold a shitload. You know, you look at something like Iron Man number 2, right? 66,000 copies. That's nearly, a sixth of what the number 1 sold.
Yep.
That's
about a fifth.
This is not sustainable, right? So, yeah, it's about a fifth of what it sold. This is not, this is...
Oh, no, it's a fourth because it was 240,000, right?
Almost 280. Yeah,
it was almost 280?
It was 280.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So
it's about a fifth. This is not a sustainable method. Marvel and DC need to accept that 20 to 30,000 copies is perfectly acceptable. And it appears that DC has. Obviously they have stuff like Dark Knight 3 that has a shitload of variant covers. They have these December variants. They do like these Looney Tunes variants. So they're gonna buffer when they can.
But with DC, DC is buffering on a more reasonable rate than necessarily Marvel is, because the Looney Tunes ones, for example, you actually were able to go back and order more Looney Tunes variants.
Right, you can't reorder Marvel variants.
Right, because
right.
DC's like, well, we'll make some. If they're available to you, they're available to you. Yeah. And that was the other thing with the Marvel, the New 52, is a lot of that stuff that you maybe not necessarily didn't order enough of and needed to order some more, the reorders on that were a lot better. Whereas Marvel number ones, the number ones, there's a shit ton of them in the store.
I can get the number ones if I have to. Obviously you can't reorder variant covers, but I can get the regular ones. So, as always, I am very curious to see what these numbers will look like. No doubt about it. One amazing month for Marvel. And they're going to have a couple. November will be very strong as well because there's 20 number ones coming out. And no doubt about that December will also be strong. There's less. I think there's like 12. But these will be strong months for Marvel. They had the start of the year with Star Wars, end of the year with All New Different, middle of the year with Secret Wars. What comes in January? What comes in next summer? Can they keep this going? DC feels like they're just like, we're just riding it out. We're just riding it out. Obviously, they got stuff planned, but DC hasn't. They haven't just gone balls out. Marvel's doing it, and I'm telling you, I'm not getting people signing up for these books. The couple people that ask for all the number ones, they're only signing up for a couple of the number 2s. I'm not adding 20, 30 subscribers to a book like Karnak or a book like Contest of Champions. A couple of these books by issue 2 or 3, I'm already at 10 copies or less. Mm-hmm. When something like Contest of Champions, between the variant covers, the main title, the hip-hop is pre-sold, I was getting 50, 60 copies. And now I'm down to a sixth or less of that going forward. That's tough. And that sort of feast or famine sales doesn't...
And that's the thing is I think that, as readers and as people buying comic books, Secret Wars was kind of, Marvel pumped it up as this big, huge thing that's going to change the Marvel Universe. Things are going to be different. It was, they weren't coming out and saying that they were...
my interest is...
They didn't come out and say, and I know you're going to hate me using this word, they didn't come out and say they were going to rejigger, but it was kind of like, oh, Marvel's going to finally do it. Yeah. We're finally going to see Marvel, whether...
But they didn't.
Yeah, whether they went more movie heavy, whether they went more TV heavy, they didn't. We're sitting here going all new, all different. Well, maybe
if you look at this list here, right? Now we have an interesting way of ordering here at the store. We split some orders with some other stores, so we kind of go in together to get books so we can get variant covers and special stuff. Not something a lot of stores do. I look at these couple books here: Invincible Iron Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, Doctor Strange. These are books that I went really big on the number ones and got a lot of copies of. Very quickly, I pulled back on basically everything that came after that and started just getting what I needed and the variance. So so the November numbers, I'm very curious if you're going to see anything this high. I don't think you are.
No.
You may see a couple. I'm sure Deadpool will do well. I'm sure a few of these books will do well. All new, all different Avengers will do well. But I don't think you're going to see this 200,000 plus on anything. 150, 100, yeah, maybe on a few of them. Wolverine, I'm sure will do well. But, I'll be curious what number 2s look like. Well, let's move on. We actually got a question about this from our good friend Stefano, sticking with the news of kind of this behind the counter news stuff here. Image Comics announced a delayed billing program for comic stores. He wanted to know kind of what my thoughts on this was, and I'll let you know what they're offering here. So if you go to a comic store and everyone's sold out of every comic, that sucks if you're a customer. They want you to order a lot of comics, to have comics in stock to sell down the road. Image has tried a number of times recently to find a way to get comic stores to stock their product more long-term. They've tried doing like special variant covers that were returnable later. They've started to do like, if you order a flat amount or more based on your store discount, your kind of status, your order history, you can return them later. And we're going to continue this with issue number 2s and 3s and 4. But it's going to take a few months to get returned, so you kind of have to stick with it for a while. What they're doing now for select retailers on select titles is you buy the books up front, and then you do not pay them for 90 days. So you don't pay the following week, basically, which is how we pay now. Some stores are like net 28, which means if they get the book at the first of the month, they owe the invoice at the end of the month. This will be a full 3 months. But again, the pitch here is Image wants stores to order more copies. This is a problem because that's not how the comic stores order anymore. Image, I'm very sorry to tell you, even books like Saga and Walking Dead, there's a cutoff. Yes, we will occasionally get people coming in and buying the books 2, 3, 4 months down the road, but it's not like it used to be.
No.
There are so many books and people order so many things. The people that wait buy the trades, buy them digitally, buy them in other fashions. Single issues sell the first 6 days, the first 5 days. We get them Wednesday. If I don't sell it by Saturday, there's a good chance, unless it's in the subscription box, that I will never sell another copy of this book again.
This is the thing. Image, I know Image has been trying, like you said, to do these different orderings, to give incentives, to returnability, all this stuff. Image, they need to focus on getting these books to retailers before they order. Like, you need to have, even if it's a copy that's like slapped with preview across it all over the place.
We do.
But that's the thing is they need to be advertising these more. That these books need to have more of a. I mean, because that's the thing is you don't hear about a book a lot of time. I mean, I'm on Twitter. I see my feed. I hear about a brand new number 1 that came out the day it came out.
Well, that's not fair because they do send out previews. We do get stuff, but here's the problem. There's 10 new Image books a month.
Yeah.
And 9 out of 10 of those will not sell. It doesn't matter.
Well, that's the thing is you're not getting it with enough notice for you to read it and kind of be like,
we do.
You do.
No.
You get it.
Every company I mean, Marvel isn't great at it. DC's been sending out more full copy previews. I mean, not physical copies. Everything's digital now, of course. Image does give a lot of, like, we get full review copies the week before basically every Image comic, but that's the week before.
Yeah, if you had it right before FOC.
A lot of creators do send out review and preview copies pre-FOC, so they do. But it doesn't matter because the average store is going to sell 2 to 10 copies of a random Image book. Books like Walking Dead and Saga and like The Goddamned, which is a new book this week by Jason Aaron. Very excited for that. I ordered a lot. I feel that will sell. There's only a handful of books that I would order on those numbers from Image.
Well, even Jason,
or from IDW or Boom or Marvel or DC. Like, this is not an Image thing.
Yeah.
Image needs to realize that it's not gonna change. That this is the industry now. People buy the books the week that come out. Anyone that's waiting is not buying single issues.
Yeah.
They're buying them digitally. They're buying them in trade paperback. They're buying them in some other fashion. Single issues have a very, very short shelf life because of the price point, because of how many books are out there these days. People don't come in traditionally these days. People don't come in once a month and buy a month worth of titles. Those people will buy digitally or they'll buy trade paperbacks. Again, I'm not saying they don't. Of course it happens.
But Image has it
used to be I'd want 3 to 5 copies of any book after Wednesday, maybe 10 or 20 copies of big books. The big books that I want now are like 3 to 5 copies. The small books, I want 0 to 2 copies.
Yeah.
That number is shifted way down of what I want the following Wednesday of a title. When I take the books off Tuesday night, I don't want more than a couple copies. Hell, even a book like Batman, we order 75 copies. I sell 70 of them or 65 of them in the first 4 days. I'm not selling, and Batman of all the DC titles is the book that I am selling long term, but I'm only selling a couple. I'm only selling 5, 6. I'm not selling 20, 30, 40 copies of Batman down the road.
Yeah.
And, Amazing Spider-Man #1, sure, people will buy that occasionally. Some random kid will be like, ooh, Spider-Man. But it's not, and this is not an Image-specific problem. This is the entire industry. So you could do it, Image, cool. I'm not going to order anymore. I'm going to order exactly what I order, sell out of almost everything, because it's not profitable otherwise.
You just took Extend off the shelf, right?
It's on the shelf, but I cut my order to 0.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's because nobody...
Perfect example. This is what happens to most books by most publishers. I order 5 copies of #1. I sell 2 copies. I order 2 copies. I FOC my order of #2 to 2. I sell 0 copies of #2 within the first week. I cut my order of #3 to 0, and I will never look back unless someone subscribes to it. What else am I supposed to do? I didn't sell a copy. Am I supposed to keep risking this at $2 cost? It's not like these things cost me 5 cents a piece. They're significantly more expensive. So Image.
Well, and you have to sell the total amount that you order to make a profit on those smaller numbers.
Right. I've said this before, that if I order 10 copies of a book and I sell 8 copies, I'm not really making any money because of discounts, because of pre-existing like older subscriber discounts that we don't do anymore, but some people are grandfathered in, because of shelf space, cost, shipping, and paying employees. I have to sell 10 out of 10 to be profitable. If I get 25 copies, I have to sell 22 of those to be profitable. Yeah. If I get 75 copies, okay. If I sell 65 or 70, I'm profitable. I'm very profitable. That's fine. Yeah. But on a book where I only order 2 copies, if I don't sell all 2, I'm losing money. Yeah. Even if I sell all 2, I'm not really making anything.
Yeah, no,
that's just there to appease a customer.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, it's definitely something that, it's a difficult market, but Image is doing, I think Image is doing a great job with their trades and their hardcovers.
Image is fantastic. It's just,
this
isn't going to happen.
The focus that they're having on these single issues is a little.
Oh, there's no point.
Yeah,
there's no point. All right, man, we've been going way long on this already. We got a few other things to talk about here.
Hurry up.
Toby, you can come back now. We're talking about shit you care about. He's in the bathroom. Where'd he go? There he is. I see him. So if you are like me, and you're a real American, and you have cable,
God damn it,
and you have cable and a DVR like a true American does.
Are you saying I'm not true American?
Like a real American does. Then this doesn't affect you because you watch everything whenever you want. That's the way TV was invented. It's amazing. We are the greatest time for TV. If you're one of these hippie, communist, internet trolls that only likes to stream your crap, and you like to steal from the internet and the good, hard-working Americans like myself, I don't know what. I
have no idea, because you just
Time Warner.
You just said watching TV whenever you want, and that's streaming and DVRing. It's
Time Warner may be delaying all of the DC comic properties on television, possibly up to years. There will be no on-demand. There will be no streaming, no Netflix, no nothing for Flash or Arrow or Supergirl or any of these shows.
I have a question.
Creature.
What idiot at Time Warner decided this was a good idea?
Time Warner also owns Time Warner Cable.
Yeah, I know.
Which is why they're doing this.
But I don't to me, I don't understand it because I watch Arrow like the next day on demand, and I still have commercials. I still have all the stuff that I have to watch. Like, it's not a fast forward option. It's just I'm choosing when it's convenient for me to watch it.
Oh, hold on. Let me take this back. On demand is part of it. The cable provider part is still on of it. It's Netflix, it's Hulu, it's that stuff.
Oh, okay. So like the streaming stuff. Yeah. That like years? Are you just do it? Get it out there.
This comes from Bleeding Cool, where he says the intention is to focus on cable services like on demand and quote unquote delivering even more value to consumers, especially those who subscribe to the traditional cable bundle. So, yeah.
So this is basically cable companies going, oh, fuck. Everyone's going to get the HBO app. Everyone's going to get the AMC app. They're no longer going to buy cable.
Well, you can't do the AMC. You have to do the cable company.
No, I know. But HBO is doing HBO
the
Go.
only one.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
And CBS.
Yeah,
they the only two.
Well, NBC
Hulu.
has theirs. Their free app that you can download.
Yeah, but you have to log in.
Yeah, you have to have
a actual cable account.
Not for the NBC one.
Yes, you do.
You don't have to do it for like CW.
You have to after a certain period of episodes.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, because they're now taking off Flash Arrow. All the stuff is off. I think it just came off for this season, and all the future stuff isn't on there. I believe
still on Hulu.
I meant for like the WB page because they were saying like today's your last or CW. I mean, they were saying like today's your last day to watch the online versions.
Fair.
Yeah. I mean, it's only available.
Look, if they're gonna have it for free for streaming online, I mean, it's up to them. I mean, they're just doing people a favor that don't have other means, which is fine, right? Now, for people that are paying for Hulu, I think that's a little unfair. You know, that are paying a Hulu.
Netflix.
Well, they could just take all. They could take all the stuff.
Netflix is a whole different thing altogether. They're not doing day after shows.
Yeah, no,
they could take their stuff off Hulu. I mean, if Hulu,
and they absolutely can. But I feel like shows are on free airways. I could put an antenna on my roof and record those shows. But I'm choosing to pay Hulu, even though they have stupid commercials, and watch it that way. And if they want to take it off of that, that's fine. I'll just won't subscribe to Hulu anymore. Yeah. And Hulu is partially owned by like 3 or 4 networks. Right? I mean, basically, I'm giving them money on top of commercials.
Right.
So I think it's just really, really silly.
I mean, they may not do this.
Yeah, right. And I think it's really just bullshit because a lot of people are jumping in later and they're catching up, and then they kind of like do the trade thing. Remember when we were selling a bunch of Walking Dead trades and they finally caught up and some of them would just start reading single issues at that point? Yeah. It's the same thing. I mean, a lot of these shows have been successful because people being able to binge watch, catch up, and then just watch them currently, right?
I think it's also I mean, it's the internet market, right? It's the internet generation. It's people that are getting their TV not through a cable, like a regular cable as before. They're getting it through an internet connection now. And that's the thing is like you said, we're a more connected universe. I mean, people are watching it on their phones. People are watching TV on their tablets. They're watching it.
I can't believe that they would take them off things like Amazon or iTunes because you could just pay like
iTunes you're buying it,
right? I mean,
you're buying it, yeah,
right. So I assume.
I mean, no offense to the guys that are buying it on iTunes, you're paying a premium to buy.
Oh, it's very expensive.
Yeah, like when you buy it right off the bat. But on the other hand, I mean, if they're going to do this where I have to wait years to be able to watch this stuff. You know, before it was, hey, I watched it on Hulu, I watched it over the air, I maybe even had, at one point I had DirecTV. Yeah. I would watch it and then go buy the Blu-rays. Yeah. If this comes to the point where I have to wait years to actually watch it, I'll just buy it on iTunes. They will not make my money off of Blu-ray straight on. I will not buy it like multiple times later on.
Well, you'd think they actually would push things like iTunes or Amazon because really, when it comes down to it, they probably are making the least amount of money on cable per show because you have to figure how, I pay like $100 for cable a month and how many channels get paid out for that. Even something like Hulu, it's a very small amount of channels comparatively to cable.
Hulu channels are local channels though. All the Hulu channels are technically free.
Yeah.
If you're going to invest in like a $50 or a $75, $100 antenna, you gotta look it up and make sure that you get the right one to get the right distance from the Sutron tower.
Yeah, just get the digital
You get all that stuff free.
Right.
I mean, you just gotta get a recorder or watch it while it's on.
Yeah, but you can get a DVR. That's super easy.
That stuff people forget. Local TV is still free.
Right.
All those superhero shows, shows,
Well,
including Supergirl, is free.
I looked up the local area where Leanne's parents live for the digital antenna, and they got like 80 channels.
Yeah?
It's a ton of channels.
Before I got cable at the house, we had a crappy antenna, but we got a decent amount of digital channels across the airways and stuff like that. It's just you have to have a good antenna. You have to have,
I mean, they're cheap. So
they're cheap now. But when they first converted over, it wasn't, right? And you also had to go through a digital converter box if you didn't have a TV that was,
if you've bought a TV in the last decade, it works.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, I don't know. To me, it's kind of ridiculous, especially like Toby said. I mean, these are the free channels. Yep. These are the channels like CBS, NBC, CW. Like, these are the channels that you can get over the air for free.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, if they're gonna delay it, I'll find other ways to do this. I mean, I've been.
Well, it feels like that would push more people to illegally downloading them.
That too, and I have multiple conversations with you, Ryan, and other friends that right now. I mean, I had some troubles with DirecTV, and they actually cut me off. I had a fight with them; they actually cut me off. Yeah. I'm like, F it, I just won't come back. And I'm trying to my best. I mean, look, I've always been pro pay for your stuff that you like. I always been like that, right? So I've been trying my earnest to do everything the right way. I watch my shows on Hulu. I watch my basketball publicly now. So it's not easy, but it's doable. But
I mean, on the Geek Box, I always troll everyone about the cable stuff. Like, whatever, do whatever you want. I don't care. I find cable is a good value because I watch a lot of TV.
No, it is though. So all these idiots are thinking that you should just pay per channel. These channels are not going to be $1 or $2. They're all going to be. At least, look, HBO is $15. That's a premium channel. Yeah. Just say to go like CBS $6. Yeah, that's way overpriced. Yeah, are you really going to pay $6 a month to watch 2 shows, and then you pay another $6 for another show?
You would only buy HBO for those 3 months, 4 months that Game of Thrones is on.
That's HBO. That's HBO.
But that's the thing is I know,
these other companies may not have to do that. They may want to lock you in.
Yeah. But that's the thing is HBO, I got to pay $15 for 4 months. Oh, I'm doing AMC. I got to pay $10 for,
But again,
months.
AMC is not even doing this yet.
No, I'm just using it as an example. Because it's a cable, like Stars, like,
Well, I found what I find, and again, I don't know what your guys' experience with HBO Go has been, but so we watch stuff on HBO occasionally. Yeah. And when I use the HBO Go, I have my TV in my big screen TV. My computer monitor, my big screen TV, hooked up through HDMI to the big screen TV. I drag my window over, boom, maximize. HBO Go looks like absolute shit. It looks okay on my computer monitor, but it stutters like hell. There's buffering problems.
The TNT app is horrible,
and
too.
You said the TNT app.
Oh, my God.
Ironically enough, really funny, when I log into the Comcast and use their streaming on demand, I find the quality is much higher than HBO Go. So I don't know if,
conspiracies.
I don't know if Comcast is, buffering the hell out of HBO Go. And it just looks like garbage when I watch it.
Yeah.
Again, if you're watching it on a 17-inch monitor versus a 65-inch TV,
it'll make a difference.
You're going to see a huge difference.
Yeah.
So,
look, TV is what it is. I mean, the cable companies are not overpriced. They technically are, but cutting the cord is not going to save you a whole lot of buck unless you only watch one show.
Right.
I mean, that's the bottom line, right?
Yeah. Well, if you are not watching TV live, you don't have too much opportunity to see Arrow and Flash and all that stuff. But
so wait, are they really doing this?
Oh, I have no idea. They're talking about it.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think it's happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, I watch all the superhero stuff on the Hulu right now, except for Supergirl, which CBS doesn't want to be part of Hulu.
Right.
They have their own streaming for $6, which is way overpriced. Yeah. But luckily, they still stream it online on their own website.
On their own site,
it's janky though. Yeah. I can barely watch it.
Yeah. So if you did watch live though this past week, or if you watched on Hulu or whatever, you saw one of the highest rated episodes of Arrow to date. The most recent episode of Arrow scored a 1.0 rating in its key demographic, which is not huge for most shows, but for Arrow, it is just shy of their best rating ever, which was the season 4 premiere. 2.57 million live viewers, which is 10% increase over the previous week. Now, why did this episode have such a big boost? Because our good friend John Constantine fucking on Arrow. And this...
Matt Ryan, right?
Matt Ryan coming over from the NBC Constantine show, which we were all fans of in some fashion here. Maybe good potential. Maybe the I will admit Constantine was not the greatest show I've ever seen, but he was amazing, and there was so much potential there.
Matt Ryan nailed playing Constantine. Like there is no one else right now that I would dream of being Constantine except him.
And so they were able to move some contracts around and figure some way, and they brought him over.
Not only contract suit, schedule wise too.
Yeah, schedule because he's on another show, right?
Well, he was supposed to be on a lot later.
All right,
and he goes, "Well, I have this other show. I can't do this." They actually moved the storylines around and the schedule just to bring him on. I thought that was really cool.
It's perfect. So he comes on. It's the episode's not really focused around him. It's focused around the resurrection of what's her face, Sarah, Sarah Black Canary. But he does meet Arrow when he's on the island in the past.
Oliver when he's on the island.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Oliver, because he's not Arrow at that point. So this is I believe he's getting off the island. I mean, he was off the island. Now he's back on. I believe the end of this season, the island flashbacks will be done because he's getting.
I hope so.
Yeah.
We'll get flash forwards instead, though.
Right.
Yeah,
It'd be like Lost.
Future Arrow and
Futures End Arrow.
DC 3000.
So they do play up that these guys have a bit of a history. It starts in the island, and then clearly some time had passed, and there's kind of that call me if you need me in the future. So there's potential for him to return, and
they did
and
a
it was such a
fantastic job on that episode. He didn't actually smoke once. He stepped out and put out a cigarette.
They
and
faked
played
around it,
and played with that lighter so much that I was just like. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's Constantine. Perfect.
I don't even care. It's something like that. If he smokes, whatever. I mean, I don't really care.
But I think everyone loved the peacock feather.
No, I actually totally. I mean, I saw it happen, but it
didn't. Yeah, it didn't click.
It didn't click.
It didn't click until I went to the internet and saw. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. He when he's casting one of the spells, he asks for a peacock feather, and then he uses it as a back scratcher and throws it away. The peacock being the NBC logo.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very, very funny. A little jab there to NBC. I really want him back. I really want him back.
My favorite part was like when he was telling Oliver, if I knew you were hanging out with this many girls, I would have come a lot sooner.
That's really funny. Like, they can make Constantine like the Nick Fury of the DC universe. Like, he could be in Flash. They could bring him over to Supergirl.
They so shit.
Like, and it doesn't even have to be like an ongoing story. It could just be like one episode. Just have him pop around, throw him in the Justice League movie, just for like a super quick second.
They could put him in Teen Titans Go this, and I would be like,
they should. Like, he is so good, and I have to feel like they know that this character works so well. And in the comics, Constantine, he's everywhere, especially the more recent comics, and they love him in DC Comics. Oh God, it was so good. It was so great to see him back.
He's the strongest conduit in the DC universe for magic. Like, he is this.
Well, and
he's Doctor Strange for the Marvel universe.
Well, he's everywhere, right? I mean, he's everywhere. He knows everyone. He knows a little bit of everything. He always gets out of these situations. He's a great...
Everybody loves him and hates him at the same time.
Right. He's a great foil for any of the heroes because he's an asshole, right? And he's a dick and he's a jerk, but he's great. So.
No, I just loved it that he took that scepter and he was like, "Yep, here, take this part. No, I don't need this thing."
So hopefully, since they got some good ratings.
I also like the going, he's all kinds of yummy, and the brother goes, "Whoa, I did not need to hear that."
Yeah, sister, yeah. We also, and slightly related to Toby, I know you put up something here. Lucifer got its, it'll be officially premiering Monday, January 25th at 9 p.m.
I'm really excited for that one now.
Directly after
X-Files.
The premiere of X-Files.
I'm like, X-Files, hey, let me bring on Lucifer.
Oh, I am.
I know.
Stoked for X-Files. I
kept thinking X-Files was going to be one of those returned Netflix shows. I keep forgetting it's an actual TV show.
Well, let me rephrase that. I hope X-Files is good. I would be fine if it didn't exist. Yeah. But if it's good, great. If it's bad, I wish it never happened.
I think it's going to be huge.
I hope it's good. It's only 6 episodes.
Oh, is it? Miniseries?
Yeah, it's only a miniseries.
Are they gonna just go miniseries after miniseries, or are they just going to do 1 and see?
I think it's just 1 and see. Because the movies sucked.
Yeah, the movies weren't that great.
And they didn't do well.
Yeah.
But if they can bring back some of that original X-Files goodness.
Yeah.
So,
Did you guys, by the way, supposedly you could call the phone number on the business card.
it's the same one. Yeah, we can call it. It's the same one.
And
yeah.
then at the pilot, I guess from the original pilot, you could do that too, and it's the same message. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I called it. So, all right, we got a couple questions here. I want to get to some of these.
Quick hits, and then Patreon thanks, and then we're out.
That'll be it. All right. This is a quick one from Rigo here. It's an email. He says, every time I listen to this podcast, I feel it's a very pro DC Comics support.
You're right in that.
Which
I'm pointing at these two guys right here.
which is, I mean, true in some fashion. Minus Bryce, who is the Marvel defender. I used to be a bigger Marvel reader when I was younger, but now as an adult I read more DC, mostly due to price. What attracts you to DC books as opposed to Marvel books? And Bryce, we can have you answer this, vice versa. As always, you guys are the best, and keep bringing the best in comics podcast.
Well, I'll tell you Bryce's answer right now is just listen to whatever Ryan has to say, and then just think of everything in opposite of Ryan, and that will be Bryce's answer.
Well, I mean, my history with comics started with Marvel. I read a lot of Marvel as a kid. I got out of comics almost, not I'll say entirely, but I was only reading a handful of comics, and the Marvel stuff was boring me in the mid-90s. I got a little bit older, and I was like, I don't really like this stuff as much. So it didn't stick with me. But I got into Vertigo. And at the time, you had like Sandman Mystery Theater, and Sandman was kind of the tail end of wrapping up.
And if people don't know, Ryan is very goth, so Vertigo is like a perfect fit for him at the time.
Oh, at the time. It was,
God, I can still see you.
It defined my life. Things like Invisibles and Hellblazer and Animal Man, right, and Swamp Thing. So all these things clicked exactly when I needed it. And that led me back to DC Comics, which I actually hadn't read a ton of before I read Vertigo, and I kind of got into DC almost backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew DC, obviously, and I knew Batman, and I knew Super Friends, and I knew this stuff, but I didn't read too many of the comics. I'd only read a couple when I was a kid. And to me, I like a lot of obscure Marvel and DC characters, but I feel like part of it is the creators.
Yeah.
I like the creators at DC traditionally more than I have at Marvel. I have liked many creators at Marvel, but when it really comes down to the character and the world, I just find the DC universe more interesting.
Yeah.
It's tough to explain. Marvel to me always felt a little too normal. I liked a lot of the characters. I like a lot of the space stuff. That stuff's pretty, fantastic. Not like it's good. It's fantastic. It's out there. It's crazy. It's amazing. Whereas DC had real dark stuff and real light stuff and aliens, and it was a much bigger world. The Marvel Universe always was, to me, very constrained. And to a lot of people, that's why they prefer the Marvel Universe. To me, I like the fantasy of the DC Universe better. The Teen Titans and Legion of Superheroes, there is no equivalent in Marvel. You have the X-Men, but the X-Men is not the Teen Titans.
No, there's a difference.
There is no Legion of... I mean, you have Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's not Legion of Superheroes. The
Legion is different.
You don't have a Superman or a Batman in the Marvel Universe. These extremes of these characters in DC is why I like them so much. I like many Marvel characters. I like many Marvel creators. I like many of their stories. I love Marvel comics, period. There's no question. I absolutely do. But pick one, Marvel or DC. It's a DC 100% of the time. I am more interested in those characters on a base level.
I think for me, again, I read a lot of Marvel when I was a kid. I mean, DC was here and there. When I got out of comics, got back into comics, was reading Marvel, really Marvel heavy, not really into DC. And then when I got back in this last time, when I came back to the shop, not because it was, not because we're DC centric here. I was just like, I asked you specifically and other people, I was like, what should I read? And most of the time it was Vertigo, DC books. Like people would say, pick this up and read this. Like I would ask, I was like, so what Marvel should I read? And there was always this hesitation, like, well, there's this and this was good, but the availability of those things, it wasn't available. It was out of print or, something like that. So whereas DC, all of these titles that people were recommending with these good stories, a lot of them were in print. I could get them. It was easier access to it. I mean, so I think for me, it was just, DC was, as I got older and, again, more into like the writers and stuff like that, they were more accessible than Marvel. Like you said, I like Marvel characters. I like stuff like that. Like, I did read Guardians of the Galaxy. I did read Annihilation. There was stuff that I really got into. But again, I mean, people go, what Marvel books do you recommend? And I have to look at the shelf to see what's still available or what we can, before I can actually tell people, like, oh, you should read this Marvel book, right? Whereas DC, I can walk over there and go, yeah, we have this. It's been, I
mean, availability it can be something that prevents you, but is there a thing in DC that grabs you the way? Because I mean, honestly, with Marvel being behind the counter now, obviously for years, I have issues, and DC has its problems as well. But Marvel's method of as a business is a very unfriendly business. Where DC, it's been a little more problematic recently, but DC was always very friendly to comic book stores, where Marvel give two shits.
Yeah.
And that obviously, I will still carry Marvel. I sell a whole bunch of Marvel. I'd be out of business if I didn't sell Marvel. But that does affect.
Well, no, you could probably just still sell Star Wars.
But that does affect my, my interest in some small part as well. So, but Toby, I know you. It's Bat Family. I mean, those are your favorite characters.
I mean, everybody that knows me, I'm pretty even on the two. I mean, I got my Bat Family characters I like on the DC side. I got my Marvel characters I'll just love, right? But I feel like in the most recent years, it seems like DC actually gave runs a chance, right? Like, the Azarella Wonder Woman run. It's a nice, long, solid run, right? I feel like over at Marvel, whenever something doesn't work, it's pretty much death within 6-12 issues. And it makes it really hard for a guy, especially like me, who's behind by like a year, to look, I'm not going to read a book if I already know it's not going to be around in a year, right? It makes it hard.
Post New 52, with all the new 52 stuff.
Marvel and DC is getting there too now.
DC's canceled a lot of titles, but a lot of those titles shouldn't have been around in the first place.
But I love the Bendis Ultimate Spider-Man run, right? I mean, that's just one solid run. I like the Grayson. It's a solid run at this point. I like the Azraella Wonder Woman run. I just feel like it's hard to follow books if after 3 issues they go into crossover and then you don't even know what happens to the book if it even comes back to the original storyline. Makes it hard to read. But to me, I've always been even. I like to read in for me, it comes back down to story, right? It always should be story and art. If the art is amazing, I might not read the book, but I love the art for it. But it's the same to me. I mean, to me, Marvel DC have always been the same world, actually.
Well, I'm going to channel Bryce here for a second and yell at all of us and say, what does it matter what's in print? What does it matter if they're screwing you on the back end? What does it matter if they're relaunching? As long as the story and art is good, that's it all. That's all that should matter. And I will, and
pretty much,
and like that's what you're saying. But I will reply to that. I believe that over the last 20 years, as I've been reading comics, DC has produced more quality product on a per comic basis than Marvel. To me. No,
I fully agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you see, I used to buy way more Marvel titles than I do DC, and it kind of flip-flopped. Now it's a little bit even, but for a while there, it flip-flopped. So,
I mean, I have been reading tons of Marvel. I've been reading tons of DC. Now I'm at one of the lowest points I've been in the last 20 years.
For both, right? Yeah, and that's where I am at too. It's just kind of what it is. But, like I said, I love both. I always thought both of them as in the same universe. Those old crossovers where they just kind of meet. I'm like, yeah, finally they meet. They just happen to be in a big scene and not meet each other. I actually didn't like the crossover books when they were in different universes, even though to some people that makes perfect sense. So, I mean, it's what it is. Whatever. I mean, I'll enjoy my books, and if I don't, I don't, right? I'll just stop buying. It's kind of fairly as easy as that.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of things now are being adopted into TV and movies, and they're basing on good runs or good storylines.
And just because I prefer a lot of DC characters on a base level, I could still turn around and have a conversation earlier this podcast where I think Vision number one was one of the best comics I've read in years.
Yeah.
Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, doesn't matter the company. That was a fantastic first issue. And if I didn't like Marvel, I wouldn't know the history of Vision and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I love Marvel. I
actually know more Marvel history than I do DC because growing up, for a while there, DC books were just not available in German.
Yeah.
I only had Marvel comics I could read. I had 2 Batman books that, that was it. And either they were only available in Germany and not in Switzerland, or just there's no access to it. I had 1 Superman book.
Yeah.
And there was all Marvel books for 8 years, 10 years.
Yeah. Also, you know me. If there's 2 things and one's more popular than the other, I'm going to like the less popular thing. just because that's just my personality. So.
Also, you jumped into Vertigo at the right time because when I moved here and Vertigo was so big, my English was so bad at the time, I couldn't read those books, man.
Yeah.
I just they didn't make sense to me. I needed the pretty pictures.
No, any more questions? Or
that's it. We're going to wrap up now. Before we wrap up, we have to thank our good friends from Patreon. Patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy. You can go there and donate some money to the podcast and help us pay our bills and the Chipotle we ate before dinner or before the podcast tonight. And our good friend Lane has given us a bunch of good stuff to give away in the podcast. I've been slacking. I get stockpiling it, so we're gonna have a few more giveaways. Hopefully, people that won our last few giveaways got all their stuff. So,
if you get that stuff, tweet a picture with our tag us in it.
Yeah. Let us know. Make sure all that stuff showed up. But we have to thank our good friend Albert Soy. He has an app called Plant Everywhere. It's a photo sharing app. Go check that out on iTunes.
Needs to be on Android.
Jody Lawson also runs Canon, the Triad Comics anthology at triadcomicstudios.com. Don't forget to go there and read their comics and support them. And all our good friends on Patreon. Again, patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy. You can go there and donate some money to us. And that is another episode. Thank you, everyone. You can hear all our previous episodes at geekbox.net. Don't forget to go to forums.geekbox.net and the Geekbox and Comic Conspiracy Facebook group, where you can talk to people that.
It normally doesn't have to when we stand up.
Brock and Toby just walked away. I'm all like, I don't know what to say now. I guess go and support those guys on the Facebooks and. What the hell was I saying?
Well, welcome to the forums where everybody will yell at you and then welcome you.
Always. Well, like I said, don't forget to go forums at geekbox.net and the Geekbox and Comic Conspiracy Facebook group. It's all good stuff on there. You also should go to digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. That's where you can go buy all of our all your great digital comics that works through Comixology. It's all part of the same account. Awesome sales on there. Oh. Today's Neil Gaiman's birthday. Happy 55th birthday, Neil Gaiman.
Dad, he just became a father.
Double nickel.
And you should also go to digital.comicsconspiracy.biz and buy both myself and Brock's favorite comic series of all time in honor of Neil Gaiman's birthday, and that is Sandman from Vertigo. All on sale.
Oh, shit.
Everything, including Dreaming, all the specials, all the minis, everything. Talk about Vertigo earlier. Sandman being, gun to my head, my favorite comic of all time. So,
Preludes Nocturnes. My first tattoo.
That is, yeah.
Hell, Season of Mist.
That is good stuff. You can never go wrong. Patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy. Again, make sure you go there. ConspiratorBrock.com. That is Brock's blog and video pull list, which is back up now, so you go check that out. And Charlie,
might be a little delayed at getting it up because the recording is.
Yeah,
I'm getting it. It's there.
You're busy and you got stuff going, but don't worry, it'll be back. Charlie's got the Infinite Long Glass podcast and Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast. Those are 2 of Charlie's other podcasts about comic books and Doctor Who. You can go and check that out. And man, I may be the worst. I was gonna say boyfriend. I may be the worst husband of all time because. Talking to my lovely wife, Leanne.
I have beef with her lately.
And I said, why don't I promote your awesome Etsy store on our podcast to all our lovely people out there? And she's like, yeah, you should have been doing that the whole time, you asshole. So you should go to etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hill Art, LeAnnHillArt. All of her prints are up there available to buy. She does commissions you can go there and buy. There's links on there to her website. You can check out her portfolios. I mean, she is working pretty normal now, so she's not currently looking for work, but she loves doing commissions. She loves doing. She'll draw you as a superhero. She's done all sorts of Star Wars stuff for people. She's got all sorts of stuff on there. She's got a very great style, very clean. She'll do prints. She'll sign it. She'll do digital only, whatever you want. So, and great for kids. Yeah, with lots of stuff people have done for their kids.
Anybody do Magic Mike?
Not yet.
Okay.
But maybe Toby, if you want, she'll do that just special for you. So
I want my legs to wiggle like his.
Leanne Hill Art on Etsy. Go check that out.
And you could also come and check out her artwork here at the store.
We do. We have all of her art available here at the store as well. All her prints. And a couple of her original pieces from Inktober. She brought here.
I'm here too, right?
Yeah, we have a couple here. Some kind of 8x10 sketches she did here. So yeah, go check that out. And you can follow her on Twitter as well at Leanne Kim Hill. Also follow myself at Ryan Higgins Ryan. Brock is Brock Sager. Bryce is Larson Bryce. Toby is Toby XI. And Charlie's Insanity and Chaos. We have the Geekbox Comedy Button. Good job, Brandon, the All Talk podcast. Don't forget about those. And that's it. Yeah, we will be back next week. Goodbye.